So if you remember post fertilization events, after fertilization ovary will convert into ovules will be converting into seeds. Integuments can be converting into seed coats. Outer integument will be converting into testa, seed coat, outer seed coat. Inner integument will be converting into inner seed coat, tegmen. Funiculous stalk of ovule, it will be converting into stalk of seed. Funiculous stalk of ovule will be converting into stalk of seed. Micropyle will be converting into seed pore. Zygote will be converting into embryo. Zygote will be converting into embryo. Antipodals, synergids will be degenerating. Zygote will be developing into embryo. Primary endosperm nucleus, triploid nucleus, it will be converting into endosperm. So when the ovule will be converting into seed, inside the seed the embryo will be developing. That developing embryo will be getting food from endosperm. So the seed is formed from ovule. So after fertilization ovule will be converting into seed. A post fertilized product of ovule is nothing but seed. That seed, if you take, endosperm will be present in seeds, that will be utilized by the developing embryo. If the endosperm is completely utilized, that type of seeds are called non-endospermic seeds. So depending on the amount of endosperm present or absent, seeds will be of two types. Endospermic seeds are also known as albuminous seeds. Non-endospermic seeds are also known as exalbuminous seeds. So endospermic seeds will be containing endosperm in them. Inside the seed the endosperm will be remaining after the seed formation. That type of seeds are called endospermic seeds or albuminous seeds. If the endosperm is completely utilized by the developing embryo, that type of seeds are called non-endospermic seeds or exalbuminous seeds. Example for endospermic seeds: castor, coconut, cereals. Like that examples will be coming under albuminous seeds. If you come for exalbuminous seeds, pea, beans, groundnut, like that examples will be coming under non-endospermic or exalbuminous seeds. So these are the types of seeds based on the endosperm present. And the endosperm will be developing in two ways. So during the endosperm formation, the endosperm will be forming in two ways. Like nuclear division occurs means karyokinesis. Cellularization is also occurring means cytokinesis. See, if you take a seed, endosperm will be formed by two ways. One will be nuclear division, another will be cytoplasmic division. This is cytokinesis. This is karyokinesis. So, like this, nuclear endosperm and cellular endosperm. These are the two types of endosperms. Nuclear endosperm and cellular endosperm. Only nuclear division, free nuclear division occurs. Suppose this is a seed, if you take, only the nucleus is dividing. Cytoplasmic divisions are not occurring. Then that will be called as nuclear endosperm. If the cell is also forming by the division of cytoplasm, then cellularization means cytokinesis occurs, then that will be called as cellular endosperm. If you go for the examples for nuclear endosperm, we can give coconut milk. So whatever water, coconut water what we will be drinking, that will be coming under nuclear endosperm. So surrounding the water, so towards the inner lining of this seed coat of coconut, cellularization begins. So this cellularization will be forming solid endosperm. Whatever inside the coconut solid thing what we will eat, that will be coming under cellular endosperm, and whatever liquid we will be drinking, that will be coming under nuclear endosperm. So these are the two types of development of endosperms. So after endosperm development, the endosperm will be utilized by the developing embryo. If the endosperm is completely utilized, that type of seeds are called exalbuminous seeds, and if the endosperm is partly utilized and partly it is left over, then that type of seeds are called albuminous seeds. So already we discussed about two types of seeds depending on presence of endosperm, albuminous seeds and exalbuminous seeds. Coming to perisperm. What is the meaning of perisperm present in the seed? See, actually in the ovule we will be seeing like this, the ovule will be present, all this tissue will be nucellus. This is inner integument, outer integument, like this will be present. This nucellus, here only embryo sac will be developing, like egg cell, synergids, secondary nucleus, antipodals, like these structures will be coming. All this nucellus will be utilized by the developing embryo sac. Listen, remember embryo sac, it is a female gametophyte. It will be embryo sac, female gametophyte. During development, it will be utilizing nucellus as its food. So nucellus is utilized as food material by developing female gametophyte, that is embryo sac. But endosperm is utilized as food material by developing embryo. So inside the seed, two types of food materials are available. One is nucellus, which is utilized by developing female gametophyte embryo sac. Another one is embryo, which will be utilizing endosperm. If at all endosperm is left over, then that type of seeds are called albuminous seeds. If endosperm is utilized, that type of seeds are called exalbuminous seeds. Already we discussed. But if the nucellus is remaining, means actually the nucellus will be completely utilized by embryo sac. So most commonly the seeds will be not at all having remnant nucellus. If at all, rare cases, if at all some nucellus is left over, then that nucellus is called perisperm. So what is perisperm means? Remnant nucellus, means leftover nucellus in the seed. So whatever nucellus that is utilized as food by embryo sac, if at all it is left over a little, then that type of seeds are called perispermic seeds. Perispermic seeds, the seeds with perisperm are called perispermic seeds. Example for perispermic seeds are black pepper and beet. These are the examples for perispermic seeds. And also one more example will be coming under perispermic seeds. Coffea arabica means coffee seeds. Whatever coffee powder is prepared from coffee seeds, that is also coming from perisperm only. So what is perisperm? Remnant nucellus or leftover nucellus in the seed is called perisperm. Perisperm, if at all the seeds are having perisperm, then that type of seeds are called perispermic seeds. Example for perispermic seeds are black pepper, beet, and also coffee seeds, Coffea arabica. This is about seed structures, means what are the different structures present in the seed. If you go, very important structures are seed coats, seed pore, stalk of the seed, hilum, and coming to endosperm, perisperm, embryo will be forming inside the cotyledons. If at all only one cotyledon is present, that type of seeds are called monocotyledonous seeds. If two cotyledons are present, that type of seeds are called dicotyledonous seeds. And as and when you came to know very well from lower classes only that two types of seeds will be present, dicot seeds and monocot seeds. First we will discuss about structure of dicot seed. If you go for a dicot seed, so most common dicot seed, best example is bean or pea, whatever it may be, kidney shaped seeds will be present, we will be seeing here. So these cotyledons shape will be kidney shaped. See, like this. This is the dicot seed. So whatever structure will be present surrounding the seed, this is called seed coat. Outer seed coat is called testa, inner seed coat is called tegmen. So coming to first structure present in dicot seed, seed coat. Outer seed coat testa, inner seed coat tegmen. Next, here a small scar will be seen, black color scar will be seen. For every bean we can easily identify this black color scar. That is nothing but hilum. This is the funiculus in the ovule where the stalk and body of ovule are attached. That point is called hilum. So this black color structure we will definitely see. We can able to see on the beans or pea seeds very clearly. It is able to see hilum. And above this hilum a small opening will be seen. This is called seed pore. So this is nothing but the micropyle of ovule which will be converting into seed pore. So these are the main structures that will be present, like hilum, seed pore, cotyledons. Cotyledons will be present inside the seed. Each seed will be having two cotyledons. So if you open one seed, two cotyledons we can able to see inside any seed. If you open bean seed, you can able to see two cotyledons. Two cotyledons are present means that seed is called dicot seed. So if you go here, embryo will be present. Central axis of embryo is called embryonal axis, and this embryonal axis upper portion is called plumule, and embryonal axis lower portion is called radicle. Actually, above the cotyledons, level of cotyledons, the embryonal axis is called epicotyl. Below the cotyledons, the embryonal axis is called hypocotyl. So at the level of cotyledons, embryonal axis will be present. Above the level of cotyledons, epicotyl. Below the level of cotyledons, hypocotyl. Epicotyl will be ending with the plumule. Hypocotyl with radical. Plumule develops into shoot system. Radical developing into root system. These are the different structures present in a dicot seed. So, if you repeat, dicot seed will be having seed coats, outer seed coat testa, inner seed coat tegmen. A hilum black color portion will be present, and above that hilum seed pore we will be able to see, that is coming from micropyle. Inside the seed we will be able to see embryo. So embryo will be having central axis, that is called embryonal axis. Embryonal axis above the cotyledons level is called epicotyl. Embryonal axis below the cotyledons level is called hypocotyl. Epicotyl end with plumule, hypocotyl end with radical. Plumule develops into shoot system, radical develops into root system. That is about structure of dicot seed. If you go for structure of monocot seed, monocot seeds will be having only one cotyledon. Mostly monocot seeds will be of endospermic. So, mostly monocotyledonous seeds are endospermic or albuminous. But orchids, they are the exceptional cases which are non-endospermic monocots. So, best example for monocotyledonous seeds are cereals, like maize, oryza, sativa, like that. If you go with maize, if you take maize seed, if you recollect the fruit chapter, maize or cereals fruit will be of caryopsis. What is the basic character of caryopsis? Caryopsis fruit will be having fruit wall and seed coat fused. That is the basic character of caryopsis. Caryopsis fruit will be seen in cereals like maize, oryza, sativa, like that. Here what is the best character we can observe? That is fruit wall and seed coat are fused. So in maize also fruit wall and seed coat are fused. That is the main character you should remember. If you go for monocotyledonous seed structure, how the seed will be? See, only one cotyledon will be present, and this cotyledon will be having, see, like this. If you take the maize seed, it will be looking like this. See, this is the zone of endosperm. This is the zone of embryo. Embryonal region will be separated from endospermal region by a proteinaceous layer called hyaluron layer. Very important thing is hyaluron layer, which is of triploid. Hyaluron layer is the proteinaceous layer that is surrounding the endosperm, which separates the endosperm from embryonal zone. In the embryonal region, only single embryo will be present, and this single embryo, see, only one cotyledon will be present here. Single cotyledon, that too shield shaped cotyledon. Single shield shaped cotyledon present in monocotyledonous seeds is called scutellum. So here the scutellum will be single shield shaped cotyledon present in the monocotyledonous seeds is called scutellum. So in this single cotyledon embryo will be present. See, for this embryo also we can see the embryonal axis, plumule and radical. See, suppose this is plumule, this will be the radical. Surrounding the plumule, a sheath-like structure will be present. This is called coleoptile. Surrounding the radical, a sheath-like structure will be present. This is called coleorhiza. So, this is the structure of embryo. Only single shield shaped cotyledon will be present, that is called scutellum. Inside the embryo, embryonal axis will be present. Embryonal axis will be having towards the upper side plumule and towards the lower side radicle. Plumule will be surrounded by a sheath like structure called coleoptile. Radicle will be surrounded by a sheath like structure called coleorrhiza. Plumule develops into shoot system, radicle develops into root system. Here entire tissue, endospermic tissue will be present. Surrounding the endospermic tissue, a proteinaceous layer will be present, which is called aileron layer, that is the triploid layer. Endosperm is also triploid. Aileron layer is also triploid. I think you know about the ploid is nucellus perisperm will be diploid, endosperm aileron layer will be of triploid. Embryo is also diploid. So this is about structure of monocot seed. So very important structures present in monocot seeds are: a seed will be having seed coat as usual. A single shield shaped cotyledon will be present, scutellum. Fruit wall and seed coat, I think you know the difference. Fruit wall is also known as pericarp. Seed coat, both are fused in Oryza sativa, maize, like this, Poaceae members or graminae. We will be seeing in all cereals, we will be seeing this type of fruit, Caryopsis fruit. In the Caryopsis fruit, basic character is fruit wall, pericarp, and seed coat are fused. See, pericarp, I think you know pericarp will be having three layers: epicarp, mesocarp, and endocarp. All these three will be combinedly fusing with seed coat. So that is about monocotyledonous seed structure. Very important characters to be remembered. Coleoptile, what is coleoptile, what is coleorrhiza, what is plumule, what is radicle, what is scutellum, what is aileron layer. Those are the important structures present in the monocotyledonous seed. Coming to significance of seed. What is the significance of seed? Why a plant should produce a seed? First of all, see, a seed will be having at least 10 to 15% of water. So as the seeds will be having 10 to 15% of water, they can provide life for the embryo without any damage. So the embryo will be living in a best condition inside this water condition, 10 to 15% of water condition inside the seed. So the embryo will be in a dormant condition, that is known as seed dormancy. I think you know what is seed dormancy. So embryo will be safe in this little amount of water present inside the seed. So because of that, seed dormancy will be occurring. You know about some things, some seeds will be germinating immediately, but most of the seeds will be taking a resting period called dormancy. That type of resting period is called seed dormancy. I think you know about 10,000 years dormancy is also safe. Means after 10,000 years of seed dormancy, a seed can be germinated to form a plant, that is lupinus. I think you know this about this plant already. We came to know this lupinus about after 10,000 years the seed has germinated. Latest records, after 10,000 years the seed germinated in lupinus plant. And also after 2,000 years in a plant, dates, means this Phoenix dactylifera. This is the plant, Phoenix dactylifera. After 2000 years, the seed has germinated in Phoenix dactylifera, and after 10,000 years also safe. The embryo is almost all after 10,000 years the seed has germinated, means the embryo is still alive. Means how the embryo is living inside the seed? Because of presence of 10 to 15% of water. So due to this seed dormancy, after 10,000 years also we can be able to get this type of plants. So that is the most important significance of seed. And along with the significance of seed, very important significance of seed is seed also helps in dispersal of fruits. I think you know coconut will be floating on the water. So coconut floats on the water and it travels from one region to another region such that it helps in dispersal of fruit along with the dispersal of seed. So along with the seed, the fruit is also dispersing. So when the fruit is carrying the seed will be traveling to lot of distances, and after traveling so much of distance, there also it can germinate the seed and coconut plant can be grown there. And one more seed called Martinia, tiger claw plant. Tiger claw plant. What is the significance of this plant seeds is, these seeds will be fixed into the fur of animals. So Martinia, that is called tiger claw plant, these seeds will be fixing into the fur of animals and helps in dispersal of seeds such that the seeds will be carried from one area to another area. There also the plants can be grown. That is the significance of seed. So we came to know about significance of seed after dormant periods of 10,000 years also it can germinate. That is the first significance we already discussed. Second significance is as the traveling of the seed is helping to germinate somewhere, means from here to somewhere the plant will be growing in the form of seed such that that is helping in development of plants in all type of areas. One more important thing is seeds of guava and figs. Seeds of guava and figs are eaten by birds, but the birds cannot digest the seeds. But inside the digestive system of birds, the guava seed coat is very hard. Very hard seed coat will be present. So this hard seed coat will be softened inside the digestive system of birds such that when these guava seeds directly fall on the soil, they cannot germinate due to presence of hard seed coat. They cannot germinate up to so many years. But if the birds will be eating these seeds and inside their digestive system, the hard seed coat will be somewhat smoothened, and when these birds will be excreting their materials at somewhere in another place, there the hard seed coat is already smoothened, so the seeds can germinate there and the new plant will be growing there. Like that also the seeds are helping to develop the plants in different areas. That is about significance of seeds. And coming to smallest seed and largest seed. What are the smallest seeds known and what are the largest seeds known? Lodicea, this is also known as double coconut. This is also known as double coconut. This is considered as largest seed. And coming to smallest seeds, orchids. So this is about smallest seeds and largest seeds. The orchids seeds are microscopic and they will be produced in many number. Weightless, microscopic weightless seeds will be produced by orchids. I think you remember Orchidaceae family, Vanda. Example, fir. This is given as example for epiphytic roots. How the epiphytes will be growing on the branches of another trees because their seeds are microscopic, weightless. These are the smallest seeds known. These seeds will be going through the wind and they will be falling on the crevices of the barks, and when rainwater comes onto the bark such that the seed will be germinating and producing epiphytic plants. That is the best example we have already discussed in epiphytic plants. Orchids, the seeds are smallest seeds. Lodicea, that is double coconut, largest seeds. And we already discussed about seed viability. Seed can be alive, means inside the seed the embryo can live for longer periods in some cases, and only they can live for shorter periods in some cases. We already discussed about longer periods, 10,000 years and 2,000 years examples also we discussed. And that is about different types of seeds, and seed topic already we covered most of the points. Coming to Next topic, in the biological classification, some people has asked to discuss about prions. That's why that topic is also listed out in the schedule today to complete. Okay. Now we have already completed the seed topic. We are going into another topic called prions. What are prions? Before going to start about prions, I have to give introduction about viruses. I think you know very well about virus. Now also every day we are doing quarantine because of this virus only. A virus, it is very dangerous and it is pleomorphic and it will be having two parts. A virus will be having two parts, that is a proteinaceous coat, protein coat called capsid and nucleic acid. So virus, it is not at all having a cell. Virus are acellular particles. They will be showing both living and non-living characters. Means viruses inside a body, they will show living characters. Outside the body, they will be showing non-living characters. A virus will be having protein coat called capsid. The capsid is made up of many units called, proteinaceous units called capsomeres. Nucleic acid, I think you know about nucleic acid. Two types of nucleic acid present, that is DNA and RNA. If a virus is having DNA, that type of viruses are called DNA viruses. If the virus is having RNA, that type of viruses are called RNA viruses. And more than DNA viruses, RNA viruses are very dangerous. And we know very well about dangerous RNA virus, HIV. Already we came over about that virus. Very important information like medicines like that. We are already struggling with one RNA virus, that is HIV, and one more very new virus, that is COVID-19. Now we are fighting with that. So like this, a virus will be having two parts, protein part capsid and also nucleic acid. See, if a protein will be having, a virus will be having protein plus nucleic acid. Suppose only protein is present, nucleic acid is absent, then that type of viruses are called prions. And in the same way, only nucleic acid is present, protein part is absent, that type of viruses are called viroids. And this is the introduction about viroids and prions. Coming to viroids. Viroids means only nucleic acid is present. Viroid means only nucleic acid is present. Protein is absent. Means only nucleic acid will be causing disease, either DNA or RNA. Best example for viroid, PSTV, means potato spindle tuber viroid. This is the example for viroid, PSTV. PSTV means potato spindle tuber viroid. Viroids were discovered by T.O. Diner. Viroids were discovered by T.O. Diner. T.O. Diner discovered viroids. Best example for viroids is PSTV along with potato spindle tuber viroid, citrus exocartosis. It is also one more example. Citrus exocartosis. This is also one more example for viroid. That's all about viroids. Coming to prions. Some people already asked a doubt about prions only. This is the introduction I gave for that topic. Coming to prions. Prions means only protein is present, nucleic acid is absent. Prions are also known as infectious proteins. Prions are also known as infectious proteins. Because these proteins are causing diseases, these proteins are also known as infectious proteins. Means prions are having only protein, nucleic acid is absent. Only protein is present. Prusiner, he is the scientist who discovered prions. Prusiner discovered prions. Example for diseases caused by prions is mad cow disease. Mad cow disease. Mad cow disease is also known as bovine spongiform encephalitis. Bovine spongiform encephalitis. Bovine spongiform encephalitis, it is also known as mad cow disease, that is caused by prions. Actually, if this disease will be coming in cattle, that's why that disease is also known as mad cow disease. We cannot control that type of cows. So if at all the diseased cow is taken by human beings as food, then in the human beings one dreadful disease called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, this is the disease coming in human beings if at all this mad cow diseased cattle is taken as food by human beings, then that human beings will be getting this type of disease called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. This is the best example for prions. And one more example for prions is scrapie disease in sheep. So, scrapie disease in sheep also coming under example for prions. Only these two topics are present in today's schedule. Next, whatever is present in the schedule, we will be discussing in the next class. Thank you. Closed.